Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports worldwide on the iHeartRadio network. Thank you very much, iHeartRadio, for bringing us on to your platform. Over 250 million people per week on the iHeartRadio network, which is also the largest network in the United States with the largest reach of an audience. So thank you very much for bringing us onto your program. You're talking about 1 billion people every month is contacted by the iHeartRadio network. That's how powerful their platform is. So thank you again for bringing on Charlton and Big C Sports. Today is August the 10th, 2016. I also want to say bienvenidos to our Latin American audience, and I'm learning more and more Spanish, Big C, so you got to be careful by Christmas time. You might not even be able to hold a conversation with me, Big C. And also,
I get the same 2 or 3 words every time, so I'm becoming
Okay, well, I'm going to start improving that vocabulary. Also want to give a shout out to our listeners from London, England, as well as Berlin, Germany, and the great country of Canada. Love their national anthem. Also, you good old boys down in Australia and even in Brazil. So thank you all very much. But Big C, I always love this part of the day. I love our program. I love the fact that we have a great platform. I was pulling up numbers on iHeartRadio. They lead Fox, they lead CBS, they lead ABC, they lead everybody in their reach, their audience reach, over 250 million people a week. So thank you very much for that, iHeartRadio. Big C, how are things going for you down in the South?
Well, it's been a dreary day here in the South, Jordan. We've had showers on and off. I mean, it's like spring to summer here all the time. So, everything stays green. I don't have to water those plants I got out behind the barn and stuff. They get nature's water, so I don't have to worry about any chemicals.
You and John Elway, okay.
But no, it's been a nice day, Charlton, other than the sadness that we got today in sports with the loss of John Saunders.
Yeah.
John Saunders has been a part of the ESPN family, Charlton, for some 30 years. And, his loss came suddenly. It was unexpected. There was really no signs of it other than him feeling ill a few days ago. But John Saunders represents the African-American community as far as the quality and greatness that you can achieve.
Yeah.
Everybody says there's boundaries because of color, and they are. But John Saunders crossed that barrier, as many broadcasters in television and sports have done for years. He was a Canadian, Charlton, and I know you speak about Canada all the time frequently in our show.
Yeah.
And he came to the U.S. in 1986. He worked with the Canadian network up there prior to getting the job with ESPN. But he spoke so eloquently, Charlton, in his representation of the African-American race.
Yeah.
When you saw John Saunders on TV in the past decade and a half, you knew something was important on ESPN. He became their flagship anchor.
Yeah.
He was that Al Michaels figure, where when he was there, the event was big, whether it was a national championship football game, whether it was a presentation in the playoffs, whether it's college basketball national championship run, the final, the Sweet 16 Final Four. John Saunders represented that. But, people think because you're African-American, you're not diverse in sports.
Yeah.
John Saunders, Charlton, was a hockey player first. His older brother played in the NHL and the WHL, and John wanted to follow in his shoes, and he played some minor hockey and college hockey.
Yeah.
But he didn't make it to the level of his brother, and he went on into broadcasting. But the representation that he presented for African-Americans in broadcasting was unparalleled, Charlton, as far as respect in the industry. You think about a couple years ago, and ESPN lost Stuart Scott to cancer.
Yeah.
And, another great figure who represented the African-American race on television. And I think about Lester Holt, who does NBC News. And that's where he is. He was in peril with Lester Holt. But John Saunders, when he talked about sport, when he talked about Nip Hutton, when he speaks, people listen.
Yeah.
John Saunders did basketball, he did baseball, Charlton, he did football, he did golf, he did the gamut in sports. But the thing, like I said, that I look at the most is that he represented the African-American race with the highest esteem as far as the product that he put out.
Yeah.
And he was represented by his peers across the broadcast industry. For 30 years of excellence here in the U.S., John Saunders. And my thoughts and prayers go out to his wife and his family, and even to ESPN for losing a great humanitarian and spokesperson, Charlton.
Well, Big C, very well said. Also offer my condolences to his family, and what an amazing person, because this world is, I love the opportunities that we all have here as Americans, and one of the things that is so important as a person of color, irrespective of what your beliefs are religiously, etc., when you have people like him that are given the opportunity to do what so many people want to do, Big C, and he does it with a lot of class, and he has something that a lot of people want, which is staying power. He's been on a couple of decades, and obviously we all have our issues with our health at times, and we got to stay healthy and go get our checkups. And I believe he was dealing with some diabetes, etc. But I just appreciate the professionalism that he had and brought to the table, and that's what inspires me. And not just black men on TV, but as an African American, you do want to look up and see people who look like you, whether you're a woman or a male or different ethnic groups. I just thought he personified excellence. He was at the top of his game, and he got along with everybody, and I think they're going to miss what he offered to ESPN, Big C, and Worldwide. So again, offer our condolences to the Saunders family. And I do want to say that this segment is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go down and test drive it, make sure you tell them that Charlton and Big C sent you. And Big C, I do want to say that I did hear some comments from people, California's kind of a snooty state at times, and there were some people that were saying, why would Big C, have mud in his Escalade? Because you guys treat Escalades kind of like most people treat their pickup truck. And I said, well, Big C, he's from the South, and I guess that's just how they do it. When you guys go out to get groceries, you don't really go to the grocery store. You guys go out and hunt wild boar and all that stuff, Big C. Is that true? Can you explain why you had mud in the Escalade?
I don't know how much fresh meat you've had in your life, something that hasn't been altered, sitting around at the grocery store. They come right off the hoof. It's still warm when you start cooking it, Charlton, so it never gets cold. Different flavor, different texture, but, being able to go out and harvest things naturally, Charlton, and not waste. That's one of the things we do. I have my own vegetable garden, plus vegetable garden. Yeah. And, but to be able to go out in a sportsmanship fashion and not waste what you've harvested from the earth, Charlton, is a great fulfilling thing. And to be able to share that with others and get the nutrition from it, that's the American story, Charlton. Yeah. I understand you guys have those huge supermarkets and super Walmarts and all that.
They're called grocery stores, Big C.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we can get groceries also. It's just half the time that morning it wakes up with us.
Okay. Okay. That's so funny because sometimes when I was a young boy, I used to go out fishing sometimes, and sometimes people would fish all day long. Especially when I visit with some of my friends from the South, I would think, now think about it, when I went to the grocery store and I wanted some fish, it'd take me maybe 20 minutes to go in there and grab some fish, come back and put it on the skillet. My good old boys from the South, they would fish for like 10 hours. It was a whole day event, Big C, like going on vacation. So you guys do live a little bit different.
Do you know what a 24-pack is, Charles?
No, what's a 24-pack, C?
24-pack of beer.
Oh, okay.
It takes a little while to consume it, so it's going to take more than 20 minutes. So when you're sitting out there on the bank under the shade tree in your nice little lounge chair out there under that tree, it's going to take more than 20 minutes to drink that 24-pack. So fishing is a very relaxing sport.
Well, speaking of a relaxing sport, I do want to say, I want to commend you again. You remind me of Charlie's Angels. They never really saw Charlie, but the Angels are always out doing the work. So I'm out doing the work, Big C, and people were talking about NFL football, and I think they had this program called Hard Knocks, and they were talking about the Los Angeles Rams, and they're talking about Goff, their quarterback that they picked number 1. And I think they gave up 3 draft picks to get Jared Goff out of University of California, Berkeley. Now they're saying after spending millions of dollars on this guy, and Jeff Fisher, I don't know what he's drinking, now they're saying he's not ready, and he doesn't seem to command the offense very well. He's not used to playing under center because he played most of his college at Cal in the shotgun. They're trying to put him under the center so he can hand off to their future Hall of Famer running back in Gurley, Big C. So what was Jeff Fisher thinking? Now he's starting to say the same things that you were saying 5 months ago, Big C. Your thoughts on that?
Well, Charlton, I think he was blindsided by that super powerful confidence.
Well, we know the Pac-12 is a strong conference, so we know that's true.
That super powerful conference. What is it? The Pac-7?
No, it's the Pac-12. USC is going to show Alabama the name of that conference again, Big C.
Okay, the Pac-12. Jeff Goff, probably had some gaudy numbers playing in that conference. But here's a kid, Charlton, who won 14 college games.
In 3 years. In 3 years, 14 college games.
3 years. So he averaged what?
He was 14 and 26.
4.5.
Yeah, about 4.5
wins a year while he was in college. And his senior year, Charlton, his junior year, the year he got drafted, what they do, win 7, 8 games?
Yeah.
So the first 2 years he was in college, he won a paltry 4 or 5 games, Charlton.
Yeah.
So when you look at the Rams drafting an individual like this, Charlton, that the Rams were, 79 last year?
Yeah.
Gave up all those draft picks to move up to the number 1 position.
Yep.
And draft this kid who really had not developed in college. He came in as a slight build. He filled out just a little bit, but he needed another year of college, Charlton, to reach his full potential. You're not going to reach your full potential getting beat down by grown men in the NFL. I look, as we've talked over the months, Charlton, that we've been on television, on radio.
Yeah.
And I can't see half the time, so I don't know if it's TV or radio.
It is both, Big C.
Let me get my glasses are somewhere across the room.
TV's down the road, Big C. We'll just stick to radio right now.
So when we look at what happens with a quarterback like Goff and the other kid, Carson Wentz, that Philadelphia took second overall, who didn't play against anybody who was drafted in the NFL, okay? So that lets you know what these GMs are thinking now, Charlton. And, it goes back to the old adage about African-American quarterbacks, Charlton, that they cannot master the NFL. They cannot understand the game. When you think about the NFL playoffs last year, Charlton, last season in the NFL, starting the season, there was 4 African-American quarterbacks who started the season in the NFL, Charlton. 3 of those quarterbacks made it to the playoffs.
That's like 75% from my recollection, Big C.
The only one that did not make it to the playoffs was James Winston down in Tampa Bay. But he did double the
win
team's win total from the year before.
And
that all that did was get the African American head coach Lovie Smith fired.
He got fired for winning. He got fired for winning.
He fired for improving the team's record. So I guess the NFL has another plan that we don't understand.
What's that called? The Rooney Rule, where you at least give them an interview, but they don't get to keep a job.
So you can't have a job, but you can interview.
Are you saying if Jeff Fisher was black, he would be fired by now? Big C, is that for wasting $27 million?
Okay, explain this to me, Charlton. When was the last time Jeff Fisher had a winning record?
It's been a long time. I think longer than I can fit.
And who was his quarterback?
Steve McNair. Steve McNair,
an African-American quarterback. That was the last time Jeff Fisher had a winning record. It's been close to a decade, Charlton, since the last time Jeff Fisher had a winning record. But he keeps a job. Then he drafts a quarterback out of Cal who has never done anything for us leading his team to winning. Now he has to work with grown men as a little boy, trying to teach grown men how to win a game. That's not going to happen, Charlton. This is the NFL. This is the real deal. So the Rams, it's proper for them to be on the show Hard Knocks because they're going to have a hard season. You got Todd Gurley, but you're putting so much emphasis on this quarterback. What are you going to take away from Todd Gurley in doing this, Charlton? They should have modeled after the Minnesota Vikings. You have Adrian Peterson. They drafted Teddy Bridgewater. They brought Teddy Bridgewater along slowly. Adrian Peterson was still the force of that offense, just as Todd Gurley should be with Los Angeles. You're sitting here because it's blonde hair, blue eyes, and hey, he's the savior. Todd Gurley is the savior, just like when the Rams had Chuck Long. Who did they go out and draft in the 80s, Charlton? Eric Dickerson. What happened? They end up in the NFC Championship in 1986, 85, rather against the Bears, and same thing happened to them. And everybody, happened with the Bears.
It was too cold at Soldier Field, but he was definitely about 2,000-yard rusher. And Gurley has the same type of running style, and it doesn't make sense, Big C, that they bring in a quarterback instead of shoring up their offensive line when you have a guy that if he stays healthy, he will definitely be in the Hall of Fame. And he's shown that in college, and he's already shown the skills as an NFL rookie. So, again, guys like Fisher, they keep Fisher around, but they're talking about getting rid of Lovie Smith, who makes the playoffs almost every year.
They got rid of Lovie Smith, but they're talking about getting rid of Marvin Lewis.
Yeah, Marvin Lewis. Marvin
Lewis wins the Central Division. He's been in the playoffs every year. He's been in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, his quarterback, Andy Dalton, was hurt.
Yeah,
so he had to go into the playoffs with an unproven A.J. McCarron, former Alabama national championship winner.
Yeah.
And they blame it on Marvin Lewis for his quarterback getting hurt.
Well, that's part of that good old.
They're looking at firing him.
Yeah, they're looking at firing him. Doesn't make any sense. Lovie Smith did go to the Super Bowl, but that's not good enough. And also, if you look up here, also in California, I look at a great team that's probably going to win or at least challenge for the AFC West this year. And that's when you look at Derek Carr, Amari Cooper. They're already on target in training camp. They have a great charisma, and they also have a defensive line that's coming back stronger. I think the Raiders, they were a year away from just having a stellar type team. And again, they're the last team to beat the Denver Broncos, Big C. They beat them in Denver. And this is a team right now that's primed to compete for the AFC Championship. Your thoughts on Carr and Cooper hooking up, and they also have Michael Crabtree. I think their offense is going to be very balanced this year, Big C, if they can cut down on the penalties. I look at the Raiders winning the AFC West this year.
Well, they made some solid moves during the offseason, Charlton. They brought in a couple of offensive linemen through free agency, and that's going to help shore up the protection for Carr.
Yeah.
The thing that goes most underrated with the Raiders, because they've all been known as always throughout their history as an offensive power, is their defense.
Yeah.
They have a marvelous defense, when you think about it. Khalil Mack,
yeah.
I know Alden Smith has had his problems on and off, but, one season he had 19 sacks with the 49ers.
Yeah.
So, you look at the secondary, that they've made some improvement in the secondary. You look at the head coach, Jack Del Rio.
Yep. Out of USC, I think he went to USC, Big C. He went to USC. He's a Trojan, isn't he?
He was a baseball player down at USC. Ironically, he played baseball down there.
Yeah.
So, when you think about Jack Del Rio, you know where his emphasis is going to be. It's going to be on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
His offense is maturing. And, he has a great kicker in Sebastian Janikowski. But, if this defense can step up, I think one of the things that hurt the Raiders' defense last year was Charles Woodson.
Yeah.
Great player, future Hall of Famer. But when you've been in the league 15 years, Charlton, as a defensive back, there's some young guys that can run past you periodically.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
and that's one of the things that happened with the Raiders last year. They gave up too many deep balls.
Yeah.
So now they can get some young legs back in the secondary. They can help shore that up. People always talk about, you can't replace his experience. Well, he had a long stride and short memory at one point in his career.
I
understand. In his career, he had a short stride and remembered getting burnt all the time.
Yeah.
So, that's one of the things. And when you have a young team, Charlton, that's one of the things about them molding together is that they grow together. And you talked about Cooper and Carr.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember the running back's name that they have. He's number 28.
Yeah.
But, the thing about this team, and you got Crabtree who came over from the 49ers, who has another year in the system, and he's going to be even better.
Well, I think you...
And so when you look at that combination of offensive talent that they have, the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Denver's in a little bit of disarray. They're trying to find a quarterback, Charlton.
Yeah.
And so they also lost Ryan Kalady, the big left offensive tackle. They just traded to the Jets.
Yeah.
So, they have some things and some holes that they have to fill. It's tough being a Super Bowl champion coming back to next year because you have nothing but bullseyes on your back every week.
And speaking of bullseyes on your back, this segment is sponsored by your California Lottery. What could a buck do for you? I tell you, Big C, today is Wednesday. I have that Powerball winning ticket in my pocket right now. I went in there and I was buying the winning ticket from this outlet here in California, and I simply said I want the winning ticket for the California Powerball. The last couple of times you guys gave me some duds, so they said they guarantee that I'm going to have some tickets with the right numbers on them, Big C. So hopefully that comes true tonight, Big C. And what could a buck do for you?
Make sure you don't sit on it too long and sweat out the number. Because I don't think they can take the number off the pants.
No, I got my leather pants in the closet. I don't have any sweat between my ticket and my pants, Big C. But I do want to bring up this fact that you were talking about the Denver Broncos challenging, the Raiders. The Raiders' offensive coordinator, Bill Musgrave, he likes their offense and what they're doing right now. And when you talk about the Denver Broncos, Gary Kubiak, he's expected to announce his starting quarterback Tuesday morning for Denver's preseason game. Why would you go up to the wire? They should just say Sanchez is their guy. I know they have Trevor Siemian, but Sanchez has playoff experience when he played with the Jets, and let your team get used to his timing as opposed to messing around with this again like they kind of did with Osweiler and Manning last year in the last several games of the season, Big C. Your thoughts on Kubiak? Is he making the right choice, not letting people understand who's going to be the starter? Should he just make a decision right now, Big C? Your thoughts on that?
Well, you have to be concise when you're a head coach, Charlton. You got to show that you're the leader.
Yeah.
And to name Sanchez the starter would be a great move for the Denver Broncos. Now, when you think about two quarterbacks that came into this training camp maligned, they were both minorities. You look at Sanchez and you look at Robert Griffin.
Yeah.
What other free agent quarterbacks out there, Charlton, had led their teams to the playoffs?
That's true.
And so when you think about it, you had two minority quarterbacks who had led their previous teams in the past to the playoffs, but they were maligned in going to these new teams. You take a kid like Blaine Gabbert in San Francisco, and they're calling him the next golden boy, and yet in his career in Jacksonville, he only won 5 starts.
Yeah, so, that's called golden. It is called the Golden State because it's so dry.
He made a lot of money per victory. When you think about it, and he was the number 5 draft coming out of Missouri that year. Second quarterback taken behind Cam Newton. Now, we've seen the success that Cam Newton has had in his short pro career, but Blaine Gabbert still held in higher esteem than what Cam Newton is by a lot of media outlets, Charlton, because of his stature and what he looks like. Well, but, when you sit around and you talk about the AFC West, don't sell Kansas City short, Charlton.
Alex Smith hasn't done it, though, Big C.
Win streak last year.
11-game win streak.
This is a team, and now that Alex Smith has full command of that offense, the former 49er quarterback, and number 1 draft pick overall out of the Pac-7 conference out of Utah.
And I think that Utah team beat Alabama down in the Sugar Bowl, just so you don't, I know you drink a lot of moonshine, Big C, but the last time Alabama played a Pac-12 team, they actually lost, and the next time they play one, they're going to lose to USC as well.
Alabama was playing their practice squad.
In a bowl game, okay, we'll find out.
The practice squad, get them some game experience against an equal opponent.
In fact, when they were trying to get Lynn Swann to come back to USC, they showed him a tape of the Utah beating Alabama, and they said, we got Alabama coming up in the first part of the season. Showing Lynn Swann that tape made him come back to claim victory for the Trojans. The Trojans family, Big C.
As they say down here in the South. The sun will even shine on a crooked dog's butt twice a day, okay?
Okay, that's that same dog you had in that Escalade that you had to turn in. And also, this segment is sponsored by United Labor, guaranteed life insurance up to $100,000 with no medical questions asked. And we're also endorsed by the American Cancer Society and the American Heart Association. I'm a broker with United Labor. I'm looking to hire 1,000 licensed life insurance brokers to offer life insurance guaranteed issue to all the unions in the United States under the AFL-CIO. And you can tweet out the Charlton and Big C Sports. Again, I'm looking to put people to work, Big C. And also, when it comes to putting people to work, would you believe the New York Jets, the defensive end, Muhammad Wilkerson, was activated from the physically unable to perform after he missed the start of training camp with a rehabilitated broken leg? Back in the day, Adrian Peterson for the Vikings tore his knee a few seasons ago. He came back, and I think he rushed for 2,000 yards after he tore his knee. What is it about medicine and medical science now? A guy can break his leg and come back even stronger, Big C. Your thoughts on that?
Well, Charlton, medical technology has advanced over the decades. It really advances yearly as far as being able to help players recover and recoup. I mean, if you look at the Olympics, when you look at the swimmers, they have these round, dark, circular spots on their body. For muscle relaxation, where it is putting more blood into that particular area, and it's helping the muscle strength of those athletes, and that's the reflective muscles that they're using and stuff. I recall as being an athlete where when you had orthoscopic surgery, you were never out more than 2 weeks, Charlton. You were back. I mean, you would have surgery the next morning. You would be in rehabilitation. So, and medicine has advanced even further beyond that the decades ago that I played, Charlton. So, when you think about the teams now, Charlton, spare no expense because these are investments, $1 million investments. It's not like when we played, when we had to pick up pop bottles and plastic bottles on the side of the road, cash in to subsidize our income.
I understand. I thought you were doing it to save the environment, Big C. I didn't know it was for the income.
Okay. So when you look at the recovery factor now, and when you're going into rehab, Charlton, that's your full day job.
Yeah.
It's not like you go in for a half-hour treatment. We're talking about a player being in for 8 to 10 hours of rehab during the day. So they've shortened the recovery curve tremendously as far as getting their product back out on the field.
Now, as far as getting your product back out on the field, what's going on in the world of baseball where A-Rod, I know he's had a cantankerous relationship with the New York Yankees, but here's a guy that they're actually trying to give him a standing ovation. They want him to play in Boston, and there's some talk that he may not even play in the remainder of the season. I know the Yankees are not having a great season this year, but when it talks about athletes, and I know maybe he did or didn't take the juice, I mean, it's like a drunk in the bar saying that everybody else is drinking. Everybody did it, Big C. Now, why would they not have A-Rod at least have the chance to go out, kind of like a Kobe Bryant in a sense? The Yankees should celebrate this guy because of what he did on the field with his home runs and with his play and his longevity. Obviously, they're trying to make him the bad guy when most of the league did exactly what he was doing, Big C. Your thoughts on that?
Well, the fear of the Yankees not playing A-Rod in Boston, Charlton, because of the short porch that they have out there. If A-Rod goes to Boston in this series and hits 2 to 3 home runs, how do you release him?
Yeah.
Now he's right on the doorstep of 700, Charlton.
Yeah.
Think about the backlash that you're going to get from the public and even some of the media. The media spends so much time blasting A-Rod nowadays. It's just like the Yasiel Puig thing in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Here are guys who have never put on a job more than a baseball player because they've witnessed so many games.
Right.
That's like going in and trying to work out with a professional weightlifter.
Right.
Saying, I can lift weights. Walk in when you got a guy that's bench pressing 700 pounds and try to see what it feels like.
Yeah.
That's what a sports reporter is to an athlete.
Yeah.
This is a guy who's made his living based on what you're saying, twisting words, and looking at actions that occurred on a playing field and saying, hey, this is it. And thinks he's a genius all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But when you sit there, Charlton, and you listen to these guys with these asinine, dumb, repetitive questions that they ask athletes, it's like, is there anybody intelligent in the crowd? And this is from an athlete's perspective.
Yeah.
Is there anybody intelligent with a mic or an ink pen that can ask me a question?
Yes.
Because the last 4 questions have all been the same.
Yes. Well,
and that's what athletes have to deal with. And so when you look at this A-Rod scenario, the Yankees don't want to do anything that will embarrass them and put pressure on him. So if you keep A-Rod out of the lineup, granted, at 40-plus years of age, he's not the guy that he was at 25.
Yeah.
No athlete is.
Yeah.
But, to sit there and say one of the greatest players of all time, well, he used juice. He was dirty. Half baseball was that way.
Yeah.
There's guys that have failed drug tests continuously, but they have never been pursued in a witch hunt like Alex Rodriguez has.
Yeah.
And, this comes back to that minority flair once again, Charlton.
Yeah.
Is that Roger Clemens, Mark McGwire were not scrutinized.
No, they get the pass.
And hung out to dry like they're doing Alex Rodriguez.
Yeah, and I agree. And also, just a couple of scores in Major League Baseball from yesterday. It was the Astros 7, the Twins 5, the White Sox 7, the Royals 5, and also the Red Sox 5, the Yankees 3. When you look at the Blue Jays, they were 9-3. They lost to the Rays, the A's 2, the Orioles 1. In the National League, we have the Diamondbacks 5, the Mets 3, the Marlins 2, and the San Francisco Giants are tanking right now. It was a 2-0 shutout victory by the Marlins over the Giants. The Reds beat the Cardinals 7-4, and the Pirates 6-4 over the Padres. I know the Los Angeles Dodgers right now, they're getting the groove on. They're a team that's starting to make strides in the National League West. But Big C, I want to touch on one more thing as we get into football. And as we do, I want to say that this segment is sponsored by One Life America Life Insurance. I'm a life insurance broker with One Life America. We are the leaders in the country when it comes to final expense. I'm also looking to hire over 1,000 licensed insurance brokers to offer final expense. And we pay your E&O insurance up to $1 million. So tweet out to Charlton and Big C Sports if you're looking for work. Now, Big C, something that comes to my mind, we talked about Goff being the pick of the LA Rams when we started the program, and Carson Wentz over in Philadelphia. Well, San Francisco, and I know they have Kelly here now, and he's trying to decide who's going to be the starting quarterback. Now, this is the media thing that you talk about all the time, because they're talking about what happened in practice with Gabbert and Kaepernick, and some people are saying that Gabbert looked a little bit better because he was 10 of 12 in his practice passing, and Kaepernick was 8 of 11 in his practice passing. They're trying to decide who's going to play against Houston in his preseason game. Let me just ask anyone who's ever followed football over the past several seasons. If you look at a guy like Kaepernick, he's beaten Tom Brady of the New England Patriots in New England. He's beaten Aaron Rodgers 4 times of Green Bay. He's beaten Russell Wilson. They actually had a split. Russell Wilson's been to the Super Bowl. He's beaten Cam Newton, who's also been to the Super Bowl. And he's beaten Matt Ryan, who hasn't been anywhere near a Super Bowl. But he's beaten all these quarterbacks, Big C. Gabbert can't say the same thing. So when someone's saying who's going to be the starter, at some point you would think common sense would say, let's go with the guy who's beaten Tom Brady, the guy who's beaten Aaron Rodgers several times, the guy who's beaten Russell Wilson, the guy who's beaten Cam Newton, the guy who's beaten Matt Ryan. Why is there even a conversation as to who's going to be the starter, Big C? Your thoughts on that?
Well, like I said earlier, Charlton, it's the same reason that you had Jeff Goff drafted number 1 overall, Carson Wentz drafted over 2. It was about physical appearance, Charlton, more than anything else. Is that, the media spent so much time last year berating Kaepernick in San Francisco, and the man was hurt.
Yeah.
You think about when Peyton Manning, when he got hurt and was struggling last year in Denver, did the media dog him?
No.
Down? No,
Tony Romo either. Look at Tony Romo.
You would have thought that he was out there throwing touchdown passes.
Yeah.
When the drug allegation came out against Peyton Manning, what they do? They tossed a boot on his foot.
They put a boot on his foot for having a broken neck. That's what they did. He broke his neck, they put a cast on his foot.
Put a cast on his foot. Tony Romo, the Cowboys win, 2 games last year, 3 games last year?
Yeah, a joke.
And he was still appraised.
Yeah.
He was still appraised. And, when he was playing, he didn't do all that much. But, here's Colin Kaepernick. Other than Manning, if you compare his record against Romo, who's been to the Super Bowl and the playoffs and the NFC Championship the most in the last 4 years?
Yeah, Colin Kaepernick has.
Yeah. Behind Peyton Manning.
He's only the third quarterback for the 49ers in their history to ever go to a Super Bowl. They have him back healthy again, and this talk that, just like what they're doing in Denver with Kubiak, at some point in time, you choose your leader so the team can get behind them. Now, if you want a quarterback who has not beaten Tom Brady, you go with Gabbert. If you want a guy who's never beaten Aaron Rodgers, go with Gabbert. If you want a guy who's never beaten Russell Wilson, go with Gabbert. You want a guy who's never beaten Cam Newton, go with Gabbert. You want a guy who's never beaten Matt and Ryan, go with Gabbert. You want a guy who's never won at Lambeau Field, go with Gabbert. You want a guy who's never won at New England, go with Gabbert. You want a guy who's never won an NFC Championship game, go with Gabbert. Because that's the stupid thing you're going to do if you don't put Kaepernick in there and start this franchise winning again. Big C, your thoughts on that?
Well, it would have been like replacing Joe Montana with Steve Bono when he was the backup in San Francisco. Think about what would have happened to Bill Walsh if he'd have done that.
Bill Walsh wasn't that dumb, though, Big C. That's the difference. He wasn't that dumb.
Even replacing Steve Young, doing a situation like that. I mean, you go up and down the great Terry Bradshaw when he was with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
To replace him with a Cliff Stout. These things didn't occur, Charlton. When a quarterback was healthy, you let him play because he was your franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
Who is Dallas going to replace Tony Romo? There's no controversy there, even though they don't win.
He doesn't even win. There's
never controversy about replacing Tony Romo. In Atlanta, there's never a controversy about replacing Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
You look at Chicago. They can't win coming out of the locker room. Nobody's talking about replacing
No. That's because it's too cold, Big C. It's too cold.
Controversies, Charlton, in the NFL have surrounded minority quarterbacks. You look in Cleveland. Robert Griffin is as good now as he was when he was a rookie.
He's healthy again.
But when he went to Cleveland, all you could hear was from the sports writers, this is his last chance. This is his last shot. We don't think he has anything left in the tank. Nobody said that about Blaine Gabbert.
No.
Robert Griffin won more games in his rookie year, twice as many games as a rookie, than Blaine Gabbert has won in his NFL career.
Yeah.
When you sit there and talk about players not having anything, you got to talk about the players who never had anything, Charlton.
Yeah. And
that's Blaine Gabbert.
That's Blaine Gabbert.
And so, as the NFL wants to sing his praise because he looks like Roger Goodell, blonde hair, blue eyes, tall in stature.
Yeah.
So, you know, you want to sing the guy's praise just like a Jeff Goff.
Yeah.
Blonde hair, blue eyed, tall in stature.
Yeah, and that
none of them have ever produced. I mean, when you look at the backlash that Goodell has gotten over the past several years.
Yeah.
And you look at the lack of productivity of a Blaine Gabbert in his 5 years in the NFL.
Yeah.
And Jeff Goff in his 3 years at Cal.
Yeah.
Who's the winner?
Yeah, that's
true.
Not
the teams that have them.
Yeah, that's true, Big C. And it all makes so much sense. Sometimes you just gotta just say just the facts, like Walter Cronkite. You got a guy who's been to the Super Bowl, and you're talking about him not being your starter. What a dumb statement to make. I mean, if you're a reporter and that's the garbage you're reporting, and also Chip Kelly, if you're allowing the sycophants media in San Francisco, they just want a white quarterback, they could just come out and say that. But if you want a guy who's won, and again, we'll say it one more time, because it's just the fact. Show me a guy that can beat Tom Brady on the road, Aaron Rodgers on the road, Russell Wilson, Cam Newton, and Matt Ryan, as well as Tony Romo. Why is there even a controversy around that? And the final segment, I'll say, is also brought by BeneathHisWingsFoundation.org. Make a donation today. It's easy, it's fast, and secure. And when it comes to promotions, contact Cynthia Evans of CYNN Entertainment. She's the best in Northern California. I also want to thank Becca, the business cupid, for hooking us up with sponsors coming up. And also, Big C, the final word I'll give to you, because we know the Olympics gone on, the Americans are dominating. It's a great time of sports worldwide where all the countries are getting together. And I want to say this also to Phil Knight with Nike, and also talking to Under Armour and Adidas. We're looking for that $1 million sponsor for Charlton Big C Sports, the hottest sports show in the United States, on the #1 network in the United States, the iHeart Radio network, at prime time. And I'm asking you to have a social conscience and put your money in a program that's going to put people to work. And I do want to leave it with this. Again, Michael Jordan, I'm finally proud of you after about 30 years of you being a sycophant. I'm glad you're speaking up and trying to put your money where the cause is going to help other people. And I hope that we can get people like Nike, like Phil Knight, to put money and computers into cities. I know that ESPN got $1 billion from Disney. No talk whatsoever about having a social outreach like Muhammad Ali did in UPS with the Ali Center. So, Big C, I never want to be the dumb sycophant jock on the air. Again, the way you so eloquently do, how can we get corporate America to start investing in our inner cities, not tennis shoes, but with computers so they can understand math and science? Big C, go right ahead.
Dalton, when we think about it, corporate America is the reason for inner city decay. When America became profit thirsty, and granted, everybody that runs a business wants to make money.
Yeah.
But it became more about the bottom line than it was the top line that was taking care of you. When you're in the industry, you have to take care of those who take care of you. And you realize that the American worker made a lot of corporations a lot of money over the years, but when they wanted to go out and trade stock, they became more greedy and took the companies to third world countries.
Yeah.
But that's the pilfering of American society, Charlton. The society that built you, that supported you. You took everything from them. So when you look at young people in these inner cities, in some of these rural areas where these plants were, Charlton, and they no longer exist, what is your aspiration for the future? Because you had generational scenarios where grandfathers, fathers, grandkids worked in these plants because you had a family member that was there, they got you in. America no longer possesses that, Charlton.
Yeah.
So we have a wasted generation, a couple generations going around trying to figure out what to do economically. When you talk about the population of the United States, there's more population than jobs available, Charlton. That's just from Americans.
Yeah.
Think about those who have come into this country legally or illegally that have also transplanted jobs, Charlton.
Yeah.
Taken away job opportunities.
Yeah.
And that's the same way it is in sports. When we looked at the NBA draft, Charlton, this past couple of months ago, there were 17 foreign players drafted, Charlton.
Yeah. 17.
That means that Americans were not going to get jobs. And so it's not just in industry, it's in sports also. So America needs to wake up and come together in industry and sports. If we can get industry to support America, it will make sports even stronger. It will drop the crime rate in America. Charlton, everybody would be appeased with each other.
Well, I agree with that very much, Big C. And I also want to say thank you so much, iHeartRadio. Really appreciate you as you're updating our page on the most powerful platform in the United States with over 250 million in their platform, listening platform every week. That's 1 billion people every month on the iHeartRadio. That's why, Phil Knight, you need to advertise with our program. And like you always say, Phil, just do it. And also for everyone who's looking for opportunity, make sure you make it happen. Just like Charlton and Big C Sports, we are worldwide, and we thank you all for listening to our program. And again, our thoughts go out to the Saunders family. What a great talent he was for ESPN. And for anyone else out there looking to get work, be the next John Saunders, be the next Charlton and Big C Sports. Go out and make things happen. And every Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time worldwide, you can listen to Charlton and Big C Sports all throughout the country on the iHeartRadio network. So I want to tell you that we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.